Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're going to be talking about kayaking,
Kayaking.
but not just the paddling part. We're
Yeah.
diving deeper into this idea of kayaking resilience.
Okay.
Um, and we got this from the Motor City Paddle Club podcast.
Cool.
It's basically like that mental toughness you need out there on the water when things
Wow.
get a little rough, you know?
Yeah, literally or figuratively.
Exactly.
Hey.
So it's really fascinating how they highlight that mental game of kayaking.
It is interesting.
Because we often focus on the, physical skills and all that.
Right.
But they're saying, like, your mindset can really
Really make all the difference.
make all the difference out there.
Absolutely.
And, they say waterways can be unpredictable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
1 minute, you could be having a perfect day.
Yeah.
Sun shining, calm water.
Beautiful.
And the next minute, you're dealing with, like, crazy weather.
Yeah, like storms.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you hit, like, an unexpected obstacle.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy.
It's true. Understanding and respecting nature is really key when you're out there.
Yeah.
It's not about, like, conquering the elements. It's
Yeah.
more like working with them,
Totally.
Remember they were talking about those sudden storms on Lake St. Clair?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those can turn a calm paddle into
Horrend.
just a battle against the wind and the waves in no time.
And that actually reminds me of this
Oh.
crazy experience I had a while back.
Okay,
It was one of those, like, picture-perfect days,
perfect.
sunny, calm water. I was feeling totally zen and relaxed.
Right.
Then, bam, I hit this submerged log. I never even saw it coming.
Oh, no.
And the next thing I know, I'm, like, upside down in the water,
Oh.
watching my kayak drift away.
Oh, my gosh.
My heart was pounding.
Yeah.
And for a second there, I totally panicked.
Yeah, I bet.
That feeling of panic is totally natural, though.
Right.
It's really how you respond that matters. And your story is like a perfect example of resilience in action. So what happened next?
Well, after that initial shock, like, my training kind of kicked in.
Okay,
So I took a deep breath.
good.
I focused on riding the kayak,
Uh-huh.
and I managed to climb back in.
You did it.
It wasn't pretty,
I bet.
but I did it.
That's amazing.
And you know what?
What?
That experience, as scary as it was,
Yeah,
it made me a much more confident paddler.
I can see that. That's the thing about resilience. It's
Right.
not about avoiding challenges altogether.
Right.
It's about developing those skills and that mindset to handle those challenges when they inevitably arise.
I guess so.
And this podcast episode we're talking about has some incredible stories
Really?
from other paddlers who face their own moments of truth out there.
Oh, I'm curious to hear about those,
Yeah.
because it makes you realize that
Yeah.
these challenges are probably more common than you think.
Oh, for sure.
Who did they talk about?
Well, there's this local paddler named Sarah Thompson, and she found herself battling strong currents on the Clinton River.
Oh, wow.
And she learned the hard way that even familiar waterways
Right.
can change drastically.
Yeah.
So her takeaway was always plan ahead
Okay.
and respect the power of nature.
It's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Because it's easy to get complacent, I think,
sure.
especially when you're paddling somewhere you know well.
Yeah, definitely.
What other stories did they share?
They also talked about Mike Rodriguez,
Okay.
who got caught out after sunset
Oh, no.
without proper lighting during a night paddle.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was a rookie mistake that could have had
Yeah.
serious consequences.
I bet.
But luckily, he got back safely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. When you say proper lighting,
Yeah.
what exactly do you mean?
That's a great question.
Okay.
And you're right. It's more than just having a light source.
Right.
It's about having the right type of lighting for your kayak and for the conditions.
Yeah.
Mike's experience really highlights the importance of those often overlooked
Right.
safety guidelines.
Yeah.
It's not just about having the gear. It's about understanding
Right.
how to use it properly.
Okay.
You as a paddler should always be prepared for the unexpected.
That feeling of preparedness is something I've definitely noticed in myself
Yeah.
since that log incident.
Yeah.
It's not just about the physical gear.
Uh-huh.
It's that sense of knowing you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
That's a powerful mindset to carry,
Absolutely.
on or off the water.
For sure. Yeah, it sounds like you've really internalized some
Yeah.
key lessons from that experience.
I think so.
And it's interesting how these kayaking challenges can often
Yeah,
reveal like broader truths about ourselves.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the podcast also touched on, like, the mental side of resilience, which I
Wow.
think is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's not just about muscle power.
Yeah.
It's about mental fortitude, too.
You're spot on. Just like you train your body for paddling.
Mhm.
You can train your mind to stay calm and focused
Okay.
under pressure.
But how do you actually train your mind for that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did they give any specific techniques?
They did. They talked about things like breathing exercises
Oh.
to regulate your heart rate and just calm your nerves.
Okay.
And then also focusing strategies,
Okay.
techniques to help you stay present and clear-headed
Right.
when things get stressful.
So instead of like spiraling into panic,
Yeah,
you're learning to channel that energy into problem solving.
exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did they give any examples of those focusing techniques?
They did mention mindfulness meditation,
Okay.
which can help you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
So you're not as easily swept away by them.
Okay.
And then also visualization techniques,
Okay.
where you mentally rehearse challenging situations and how you'd successfully navigate them.
Wow. I never thought about applying those techniques to kayaking,
Yeah,
but it makes so much sense.
it does.
It's like giving yourself a mental edge before you even hit the water.
Exactly. And speaking of practical tips,
Yeah.
the source material also had some excellent advice specifically for boosting
Right.
resilience while kayaking.
Okay.
They talked about planning equipment, knowing your limits,
Yeah.
self-rescue, and communication.
Okay, so let's break those down.
Okay.
Planning seems obvious, but
Yeah.
what exactly should we be thinking about?
Well, they stress the importance of checking the weather forecast,
Oh,
water conditions,
Right.
before you set out.
yeah.
It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many
Right.
people skip this step.
I can see how easy it would be to get caught up in the excitement of paddling
Yeah,
and just forget to check the forecast.
totally.
What about having a clear itinerary?
Yes,
Is that something they emphasized as well?
absolutely. Knowing where you're going and when you expect to return
Right.
is crucial,
Yeah.
especially if you're paddling solo.
Right.
It allows someone to know your plan.
In case something happens.
Exactly.
So it's all about minimizing risk and setting yourself up for success.
Okay, what about equipment?
Yeah.
They must have had some recommendations for essential gear.
Yeah. Think of your gear as your safety net.
Okay.
They emphasize carrying essentials like a whistle
Okay.
to signal for help, a flashlight for visibility,
Mm,
a basic first aid kit for minor injuries,
right.
and a repair kit for your kayak.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for those unexpected leaks
Yeah.
or rudder malfunctions.
I've definitely been guilty of skimping on the repair kit in the past.
Yeah.
I always figured, oh, I'll be fine.
Sure.
But now I'm thinking, what if I'm not?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's better to have it and not need it
Right.
than to need it and not have it.
that's true.
And, you know, even if you never have to use any of that safety gear,
Yeah,
just knowing you have it
right.
can boost your confidence on the water.
Okay, so planning and equipment.
Yeah.
Check and check. What about knowing your limits?
Is that something you can actually develop, or is it more about
Mm.
recognizing your current skill level?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
You need to be honest with yourself about your capabilities.
Right.
Don't attempt a challenging route or paddle in conditions that exceed your skill level without proper training.
Right.
It's not about being timid, it's about being smart and responsible.
I think that's a valuable lesson for life in general,
I agree.
not just kayaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing when to push yourself and when to step back
Yeah,
is a sign of wisdom.
absolutely. And if you do want to push your boundaries,
Right.
seek proper training from experienced instructors.
Okay.
They can help you develop the skills and confidence to tackle
Yeah.
those more challenging situations safely.
Speaking of challenging situations, I have to admit,
Yeah.
the thought of capsizing in deep water
Uh-huh.
makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
What do they say about self-rescue techniques?
Well, they emphasize that practicing self-rescue techniques is critical. You need to know how to right your kayak and get back in,
Right.
even if you're fully submerged.
Yeah.
There are various re-entry methods,
Okay.
each with its pros and cons,
Uh-huh.
and the best one for you will depend on your kayak type
Okay.
and your personal comfort level.
When you say re-entry methods,
Yeah.
could you explain that a bit more?
Sure.
Like, what are we actually talking about here?
Yeah, so re-entry methods are basically techniques
Okay.
for getting back into your kayak after a capsize.
Right.
So there's the swim-up method,
Okay.
where you essentially swim alongside your overturned kayak
Uh-huh.
and flip it back upright.
Okay.
And then there's the cowboy method,
Cowboy method.
where you kind of straddle the kayak
Okay.
and pull yourself back in.
Wow. I can see how practicing those would not only build your physical skills,
Yeah,
but also your mental toughness.
absolutely.
It's like facing your fear head on.
Exactly. And, practicing these techniques
Yeah.
in a controlled environment like a pool or calm lake with a buddy
Yeah.
can make a huge difference in your confidence
Right.
and your ability to stay calm
Right.
if you ever capsize in a more challenging situation.
Okay, we've covered planning equipment, knowing your limits,
Yeah.
and self-rescue.
Yes.
What about communication?
Right.
I'm guessing this goes beyond yelling for help, right?
Right. In this day and age, having a reliable, waterproof communication device
Yeah,
is a game changer.
for sure.
Whether it's a cell phone in a waterproof case
Right.
or a dedicated marine radio,
Yeah,
being able to call for assistance in an emergency
right.
can literally be a lifesaver.
It's funny how those little devices can bring a sense of security.
It is.
It's like having a lifeline to the outside world, just in
Yeah.
case.
It's amazing how technology can enhance our safety.
Right.
And in a way, our resilience on the water.
Yeah.
It's like an extension of our own capabilities.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is all great advice.
Yeah.
But what's the bigger picture here?
Right.
Well, the podcast didn't just stop at practical tips.
No.
They went on to discuss the personal growth that comes from facing and overcoming these challenges.
Yeah.
Is there a silver lining to those tough moments?
You bet. The podcast dove deep into turning challenges
Okay.
into opportunities for learning and growth.
Okay.
Think about it. Every time you encounter an obstacle and find a way to overcome it,
Yeah.
you're not only strengthening your paddling skills,
Right.
but you're also building your confidence and resilience.
It's like those challenges are actually pushing us to become
Yeah.
better, more capable versions of ourselves.
Exactly. They're opportunities to step outside our comfort zones,
Right.
develop new skills, and tap into those reserves of strength we didn't even know we had.
You know, it's interesting.
Right.
This whole idea of resilience in kayaking
Yeah.
seems to connect to life in general.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's like kayaking is like a microcosm of life, you
Yeah.
know? Throwing those little curveballs your way
Yeah.
and teaching you valuable lessons about how to handle the unexpected.
And the podcast even touched on like the community aspect of paddling,
Oh, yeah.
how those shared experiences, even the challenging ones, create this bond between people.
It's true. Whether you're helping each other with rescues
Yeah.
or just offering words of encouragement,
Right.
paddlers tend to look out for one another.
Yeah.
And that sense of community can be a powerful antidote to the stress
Right.
that challenges can bring.
That reminds me of the time I went on a group paddling trip
Uh-huh.
and we encountered some pretty rough water.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was a bit nervous,
Sure.
but we worked together, encouraged each other,
Yeah.
and ultimately made it through safely.
Good.
And that shared experience definitely created a special bond within the group.
I can imagine. There's something about facing adversity together
Yeah,
that strengthens relationships and builds trust.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we don't have to go it alone.
Right.
There's a whole community of paddlers out there
Yeah.
who understand the challenges and rewards of this sport.
Speaking of rewards,
Yeah.
the podcast didn't just focus on overcoming challenges.
Right?
It also highlighted the incredible personal growth that can come from those experiences.
Yes. They talked about how each obstacle we overcome
Uh-huh.
adds another layer to our skill set
Right.
and strengthens our resilience for future adventures,
Yeah,
both on and off the water,
it's true.
right? It's like those challenges are refining us,
Yeah,
shaping us into more adaptable and well-rounded individuals.
I love that.
And it's not just about the practical skills we learn.
Right.
It's about developing that inner confidence,
Yeah,
that belief in ourselves that we can handle whatever life throws our way.
I love that. It's like building a mental muscle.
Uh-huh.
That ability to stay calm under pressure, problem solve effectively,
Right.
and bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those mental muscles, they don't just benefit us in kayaking.
No.
They help us in all areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
It's like we're developing a toolkit for resilience
Yeah,
that we can access whenever we need it.
I couldn't agree more. And you know, as we've been discussing all these insights and tips,
Yeah.
one thought keeps coming back to me.
Okay.
What if we stopped fearing challenges and started viewing them as invitations?
Okay.
Invitations to learn to grow, to discover hidden strengths within ourselves.
That's such a powerful reframing.
I think so.
Seeing challenges not as roadblocks,
Right?
but as stepping stones on our path to becoming more resilient versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective,
Yeah.
that willingness to embrace challenges,
Right.
is really at the heart of kayaking.
Yeah.
It's a sport that demands adaptability,
Yeah.
problem solving, and a deep respect for the power of nature.
Those are qualities that serve us well
Yes,
in any adventure,
for sure.
whether it's navigating a choppy current
Right.
or navigating the ups and downs of life.
So to our listener out there, remember the next time you encounter a challenge, big or small,
Okay?
take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your inner strength
Yeah.
and embrace that challenge as an opportunity for growth.
I love that.
You might be surprised by what you discover about yourself along the way.
That's a great note to end on.
I think so.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into kayaking resilience.
Of course.
We hope it's inspired you to embrace the challenges both on and off the water
Yes.
and to discover the incredible power of resilience within yourself.